Super excited about today's video. We're going to be looking at Jax Forrest's slide by and the three main reasons why it's so good. He probably has the best slide by in the entire United States right now, high school, college, or senior level. The first reason why his slide by is so good is because of his chosen variation, which is the elbow control slide by. The two most common forms of the slide by is the traditional one when you snake your arm through and grab the tricep. The second most popular one is what a lot of people call the shrug by, when you just use your tricep behind their elbow on their tricep to, or use your forearm behind their elbow to slide them by. We call it the shrug by. The elbow control slide by is less popular, one, because it's the most difficult of the three main variations. I don't include the over top slide by in this conversation. It's the most difficult because with a slide by, you have to get your elbow to the ceiling. And in my experience, it's the hardest one to get your elbow to the ceiling. But the reason why it works so well is because it's the most versatile. You can do it from an inside tie, not just a collar tie. And you can also, it's also the hardest one to telegraph. So here we have Kaden Hensel doing the traditional slide by, where you have to snake your arm through and grab the tricep. That's the one you guys are probably the most familiar with. Then you also have the shark by, when you're just using your forearm behind the elbow on their opponent's tricep to hit the slide by. You're not actually snaking your arm through. So a few main things. Your elbow has to be facing the ceiling, like I already said before. With a shrug by, traditional slide by, or elbow control slide by, the elbow needs to be facing the ceiling before you finish the technique. However, with the two first variations, a lot of times it requires your opponent to have a collar tie, or not a collar tie, but their hand has to be somewhere between your shoulder and your neck, right? So even if it's only posted on your trap, it still needs to be in that area in order to hit a shrug by 100%. And 99% of the time, even a traditional slide by. The only wrestler who can consistently hit the traditional slide by from the inside tie, from their opponent's inside tie, is Brett Siderkov. I just made a video a few days ago about why his slide by is also really good. So we look at Jax Forrest, some footage. He's going up against Pennsylvania State champion and Penn State wrestler Gary Steen. So Gary is going to get a collar tie, right? From this position, you can hit any variation of the slide by that you want to. And obviously he hits the elbow control slide by. However, he can also hit it from his opponent's inside tie. Just that variability, right, and versatility already doubles the amount of times you can hit the slide by in general. Really doubles, triples it at least. Because a lot of time your opponent wants to get an inside tie. So from this position, you cannot hit a shrug by. It's just not possible. And it's very hard to hit the traditional slide by. But with elbow control slide by, it's business as usual, right? So it's just a superior variation of the slide by when you consider this. Here's another example of him hitting it from his opponent's inside tie. So you can just hit it a lot more often, right? And because you can hit it from more positions, it's harder for your opponent to avoid. Because with a traditional slide by, maybe they just don't want to collar tie you. But with this one, it's like, I can't collar tie you and inside tie you. It's a lot for them to avoid. They're pretty much shutting down their own offense. Reason number two is that he takes advantage of the grounded opponent position. I'll talk about this a lot. As you can see, I've included the two videos I made on this. I've been talking about this for years. When your opponent has one or both of their knees on the ground, the slide by becomes extremely easy. I'm going to show two clips of three-time All-American and NCAA runner-up Micah Jordan. He took advantage of this, and he also did the elbow control slide by, but he only did it, I believe, from watching his film when the opponent was on their knee. So his opponent has a collar tie. He snaps him down. He's on his knee. Easy slide by. And these are All-American rounds, by the way, at the NCAA championship. So this is Constellation round 5. This is an All-American round, so he's going up against All-American. Next match, he shoots. His opponent defends, but ends up on his knees, like a lot of people do. His opponent reaches up for an inside tie. Now, if Micah Jordan could only do the traditional slide by or the shrug by, he wouldn't be able to take advantage of this position, right? His opponent is grounded, and he's reaching up. But because he's good at the elbow control slide by, it makes it super easy. And he's going ahead and gets the easy takedown against another All-American. So now you have Jax Forrest against world champion and Olympic bronze medalist Thomas Gilman. Very good wrestler. Gilman is going to get an inside tie. As you can see, Forrest has elbow control, or tricep control, whatever you want to call it. And Thomas Gilman is on both knees. 9 times out of 10, Forrest is going to hit you with a slide by. Here you have him against Seth Mendoza at who's number 1, and the best high school wrestlers compete for the top ranking. So this is number two versus number 3 in the country. Seth Mendoza is going to reach up to get an inside tie while being on his knee. Again, 9 times out of 10, Jax Forrest is going to score you in that position. Again, a couple months ago when he faced Seth Mendoza at Fargo, he's going to shoot. Seth Mendoza sprawls, right? He defends how you would defend. And he reaches up for the inside tie while still being on his knee, while he's recovering from his defense. That's what he does. That's just a natural reaction that a lot of people do. And now we're going to go into the third and probably the most undercover, under the radar reason why Jax Forrest's slide by is so good. So before I get into reason number 3, you know I have to plug Earn Your Gold Academy, the #1 tool in the world for getting better at wrestling. You get all 10 of my courses, plus lifetime access to the EYG community for only $100, a one-time payment, no monthly payment, no yearly subscription fee. So all the courses are me showing the technique myself, like you get in any wrestling course, but you also get instant access to all the film I've accumulated on these techniques. One is either by the best wrestlers in the country and the world, D1 All-Americans, national champions, world champions, Olympic champions. And also, you can see it being used against All-Americans, D1 national champions, world champions, Olympic champions. So you can have the confidence to know that these techniques work against the best wrestlers in the world. Every single one of my courses are like that, all 10. You also get access to the community where you can I have discussions tabs. You can ask questions, post videos, post clips of your wrestlers. If you're a wrestler, you can post clips of yourself and ask questions to everybody. And you also get exclusive posts as well that I post only for the community members. And then, as you can see here, look at this video. It's an unlisted video. So once you're in the community, you have the link to watch them. Also, let's say you like leg riding. You click on leg riding, one of the tags, and every post I have regarding it is included. You have instant access to it. I'm going to be making posts on a regular basis to the Earn Your Gold community, so I'm constantly adding to it. And hope you guys think about joining it. It is a great value when you compare it to how much people spend on camps and one-day clinics and other courses about one position. It's crazy to think about. So let's get right back to the video. So Jax Forrest, one of his main techniques is the dump, right? Dump, carry, whatever you want to call it. He does different variations. And the dump leads into, so it sets up the slide by and it's also set up by the slide by, right? And it's extremely rare that you have 2 techniques that chain together, right? Kind of like the short drag and the dump. Most of the time when you have a chain combination, it's one move, and if this move doesn't work, it leads to this one. But it's typically not the case where it's both. And the fact that he's good at both of these techniques makes it extremely hard to avoid either one. Because when he grabs your tricep, there's 4 main hand positionings that the typical opponent is going to use, and all 4 leads into one of these 2 techniques. So let's look at a few examples, right? So whenever you miss a slide by, a lot of times your opponent ends up getting on the hook. It's just a natural thing. You watch enough wrestling, you do the move enough, you'll notice it. So he attempts to elbow control slide by. It doesn't work. His opponent gets on the hook, and that sets them up for the dump. He can instantly transition into the dump. So even when the move doesn't work, he can go to an even more dangerous technique, right? Because he can get back points from there in the freestyle match. The folk style match. And in the freestyle match, you go feet to back right for 4. So against Liam Cronin, All-American from Nebraska, D1 All-American, he gets the underhook. This happens naturally, right? This is just going to be a natural reaction from your opponents. They're going to do it all the time. And once he gets that underhook, he's not expecting Jax Forrest to go right into another technique. Again, same match. He attempts to slide by. Liam, a lot of times your opponent may be able to get their arm out, but when they get their arm out, they're probably going to get an underhook. It's just a natural reaction. They're going to have to spend so much time preparing for you in order to try to avoid that reaction. It's probably not going to happen. So now let's look at the reverse, right? When you miss a dump, but it sets up the slide by. So I'm going to zoom in on the next one. I just want to show you guys he got a takedown. So his opponent has an underhook. He tries to dump. His opponent is naturally going to take his underhook out. And when you take the underhook out, you're probably going to do some form of reaching inside for inside positioning, right? It's a collar tie, inside tie. You simply post it on the shoulder, doesn't matter. He's also on his knees as he tries to do this, right? So you can see his hand trying to reach inside. He's on a knee. So the other two reasons also obviously play into, all the reasons build upon each other, right? Another example, I want to show you guys as many examples as I can. His opponent has an underhook, so he's going to go dump. When he misses the dump, his opponent obviously ends up on the ground from defending the dump. That happens a lot. His opponent is going to want to take that underhook out and reach inside. In this situation, he got an inside tie, but he's still on his knee. Being on your knee and having an inside tie is a horrible recipe for giving up an elbow control SlideBy. That's just how it works. Again, his opponent has an underhook, so he's going to try to hit a dump. That doesn't work. And even if they don't stay on their knee, a lot of times they're going to take the underhook out. And again, because that's why I wanted to show the first examples, he can do this move even when his opponent isn't grounded. His opponent being grounded just makes it easier. Another example here, tries to hit a dump, doesn't work. His opponent takes out the underhook, reaches, posts on the shoulder. Even though he lost the tricep, no big deal. You can just grab it again. So his opponent has an underhook. He attempts a dump. Not even close to getting it. Doesn't matter. His opponent ends up getting inside positioning by posting on the shoulder. And even though he's building up, he still gets hit with the technique. And then last example here against national champion Nathan Tomasello. Same exact thing. He's going to try to hit a dump when Tomasello has an underhook. He slips off the arm. Doesn't matter. Grabs the arm again. Nathan Tomasello isn't going to reach for an underhook again. That's just not what your opponent is going to do 9 times out of 10. He reaches for that same inside positioning type just to rest your hand, kind of create space or whatever. He ends up posted on the shoulder. And Jax Forrest hits him with the SlideBy. So it's one of those things where the elbow control SlideBy is a rare variation, right? Not only is it a rare variation, but then the people who's good at the elbow control SlideBy, how many of them are good at the dump? Like really that good at the dump. Michael Jordan also had a good dump, right? He used it quite a bit. And then it's one of those situations of, so now you're already getting into a very small pool of wrestlers. So you're not used to this type of feel, this type of look. And then it's how many of them are going to combine it together and chain it together. It's very rare. That's why his SlideBy sticks out so much. Glad you guys stayed until the end of the video. And I hope you guys tune in for the next video. Thank you.